I never thought I'd fear a species that bleeds so easily. When we first heard about the humans, they were nothing but a whisper, a footnote on the galactic registry. A young species, recently discovered, still confined to their home system. Primitive, the analyst said. Unrefined, emotional, volatile. That last word was the only one they got right. My name is Vel'Raan of Tyrix, former tactical lieutenant of the Voreth Dominion's 9th Expeditionary Fleet, and the only living member of Task Group Series 4. I'm writing this because I've spent the last 6 years trying to sleep, and every time I close my eyes, I see them again, not as monsters but as men. And somehow that makes it worse. Log Entry 1. The assignment. When Command first briefed us about Sol 3, the word pacification was tossed around like an afterthought. The Dominion had expanded uncontested for centuries. We had subjugated 12 species, annexed 2, eradicated 3. Resistance was expected, but always manageable. Our intelligence drones recorded human military broadcasts, outdated projectile weapons, crude metal machines, primitive combustion-based engines. Some of us laughed. Others pitied them. I remember my commander saying, "They still use wheels. Wheels, Vel'Raan." We expected a clean sweep. Land, establish dominance, force surrender. The operation was supposed to last 40 cycles. It ended in 8. Log Entry 2. First contact. We landed in what the humans called Europe, a lush continent, scarred by centuries of their own internal wars. Our scanners picked up ruined cities, countless grave markers, and pockets of survivors already armed. Their species was prepared for violence. It wasn't unusual for primitives to resist, but the humans didn't resist like prey. They hunted us back. The first ambush hit our forward convoy. A small band of soldiers, no armor, no shielding, ambushed us with explosives made from their own supply trucks. They called them IEDs. Improvised explosive devices. Improvised. We lost 12 armored transports in under an hour. They didn't just attack and flee. They recorded our confusion, studied our reactions, and struck again from a new angle every time. They learned us like predators learn a new kind of prey. Log Entry 3, The Prisoner. A week into the campaign, we captured one alive. He was a small male, scarred, one eye blinded by shrapnel. He didn't beg, didn't scream. He simply stared. When our interrogator demanded their chain of command, he laughed. Broken, hoarse sound. Then he said something that none of us understood at first. He said, "We don't need orders to fight. We remember." Later I learned what he meant. Humans carried memories of war in their blood. Millennia of slaughter, evolution honed through conflict. Their history wasn't written in peace treaties. It was carved into bones and monuments. When he realized we didn't understand the depth of that, he leaned forward and whispered through his cracked lips, "You should have left us alone." We executed him the next morning. That night, every human frequency we could intercept repeated the same phrase. "You should have left us alone." Log Entry 4. The Firestorm. Our orbital fleet began bombardment on the 14th day. Standard Dominion procedure. Instill fear through overwhelming power. Burn the ground, shatter morale, and demand surrender. But the humans didn't surrender. They dug in. They hid underground, in old tunnels and bunkers built during their own wars. Relics from something they called World War II. We laughed at the primitive name. Then we learned it had killed 70 million of their kind. 70 million. By their own hands. The orbital bombardment only made them angrier. When our fleet lost visual contact with 3 ground teams, we sent drones. The feed that came back. They had dismembered our soldiers. Hung their armor on trees as warnings. One wall had words scrawled in human blood. We learned this from our ancestors. Log entry 5 Winter. The planet turned against us. Their weather alone was a weapon. Freezing winds, corrosive moisture, terrain so unpredictable our hovercraft failed constantly. But the humans thrived in it. We'd see their shapes moving through the snow. Low, fast, whisper quiet. Their thermal signatures were masked by ice and blood. They didn't fight for glory. They fought to survive. I watched an entire platoon freeze overnight because humans cut off their power cells and waited. They didn't waste ammunition. They didn't risk exposure. They let the cold kill us. One of my squad mates, Threx, whispered before he died. They're not fighting a war. They're remembering one. Log entry 6. The sound. I'll never forget the sound. We heard it before every attack. A low, rhythmic pounding echoing through the fog. Boom, boom, boom. It wasn't machinery. It was music. Later I learned they called it drums. A ritual before battle. A psychological weapon older than their civilization. The humans used sound to announce their coming, to taunt us. The younger soldiers panicked. Even veterans began to shiver when the drumming started. It meant they were near. It meant we would die soon. We tried countermeasures. Noise dampeners. Jammers. Nothing worked. The rhythm wasn't just sound. It was fear encoded in memory. Even now, in my cell on Tyrex, I still hear it when the lights go out. Boom, boom, boom. Log entry 7. The predator instinct. There's something you don't see on human scans. Something the sensors can't measure. It's their eyes. When a human focuses on you, it's not the look of prey or even a rival. It's the look of a predator. Cold. Calculating. Ancient. We evolved in safety, protected by technology and structure. They evolved in chaos, forced to hunt, kill, and adapt. Every motion, every twitch of muscle, was born from survival in an environment that hated them. On their world, everything wanted to kill them, the cold, the heat, the beasts, even each other. So they learned to become worse than all of it. Log entry 8. The last offensive. Command grew desperate. The fleet ordered a full push toward one of their major population centers, a place they called Warsaw. Intelligence said it was destroyed long ago. We thought it would be symbolic. We were wrong. The humans let us advance. They gave us ground, inch by inch, leading us through narrow streets and ruined buildings. Then they collapsed the entire city on top of us. Our sensors went blind. Communications failed. Smoke choked the skies. And then they came. Thousands of them, wearing crude armor made of our own fallen. Their weapons mixed with scavenged Dominion tech. They screamed their species' name before charging. Humanity! The ground shook beneath their assault. They didn't retreat. They didn't surrender. Even those mortally wounded kept fighting until their hearts stopped. We retreated that day, the first in Dominion history. Log entry 9. Aftermath. We called it the Warsaw Catastrophe. They called it the Stand. Of our original 30,000 troops, fewer than 2,000 escaped orbit. Our ships burned as we fled the atmosphere. Human fighters, primitive combustion-powered craft, chased us into the void. Some rammed us intentionally. They didn't care about surviving. They cared about winning. When I reached the fleet's medbay, I saw command staring at the tactical display in silence. Our entire invasion armada, gone. One human planet had broken the Dominion's strongest army. That day, the Council declared Earth off-limits. Not out of mercy, out of fear. Log entry 10, the debriefing. I was interrogated for 6 cycles after my return. They wanted to know everything: human weapons, tactics, biology. I told them what mattered most. They fight like they were born for it. The scientists laughed at me. They called me traumatized, delusional, said the humans' victory was luck. I asked them how many species in the galaxy can survive nuclear fire. Not launch it, survive it. They didn't have an answer. Log entry 11. The broadcast. A decade later, long after my discharge, we received a transmission. It was human. A simple message sent to every known channel. To any who would conquer, we've already fought extinction once. We're not afraid to do it again. Attached was a file. Images of Earth's surface. Scorched but alive. Cities rebuilt. Flags raised. And beneath them, soldiers saluting, smiling. No hatred. No pride. Just defiance. That was the moment I realized we hadn't defeated them because they never considered losing an option. Log entry 12. The truth. If you're reading this, don't make the same mistake we did. Humans are not the strongest. Not the fastest. Not the smartest. They are something far worse. They are the product of endless struggle. The result of a planet that forged them in pain, burned them in war, and drowned them in loss, only for them to crawl back up, teeth bared every time. When they bleed, it's not weakness. It's memory. When they cry, it's not fear. It's resolve. When they fight, it's not for conquest. It's for survival. They don't need orders. They don't need gods. They need only to remember who they are. Final log. My confession. I used to believe the Dominion's doctrine, that peace could only exist when all others bowed. But after Earth, I know peace was never ours to grant. Humans taught me that peace isn't the absence of war. It's the brief silence between storms. And somewhere out there on that blue planet, the next storm is waiting. If you ever find yourself facing them, run. Don't try to understand them. Don't try to reason with them. Because the horrifying truth is that they already understand you. They've seen fear. They've tasted extinction. And they've sworn never to feel it again. I survived the war for Earth. But every night when I dream, I see those human eyes through the smoke. Not angry, not joyful, just certain. Certain that no matter how many times the galaxy burns, humanity will rise again. In transmission. Vel'Raan of Tyrix, former lieutenant, 9th Expeditionary Fleet. Status: discharged, mentally unfit for duty. Last recorded words. They weren't fighting us. They were fighting the universe itself.